Hello, hello, hello. This is Misty Magdalena Grace with the new and improved version of Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where we talk about spirituality, psychedelics, plant medicine, microdosing, and really that journey within to finding your best innate wisdom, to your best health, your best wealth through all sorts of inner child healing, trauma release, grief recovery, overcoming addictions, and working with the mind, the body, and spirit. So go ahead, leave a review, subscribe, download. We look forward to your feedback. Thanks for tuning in today. All right. Welcome, everybody. It is 1:11 here, 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in Southern California. I did this on purpose because I love astrology. I love numerology. We're on the eve of a new moon. Hopefully you all have seen my new moon ritual and activation yesterday, and I am excited to have a podcast guest today. And if you're new to my channel, first of all, I want to welcome you to Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, where we're here to inspire, educate, empower you with amazing tools, amazing guests and monologues to help you live your best health, your best wealth by trusting your best wisdom within. And today we are talking about trusting that best wisdom within, whether it's intuition, whether you call it higher self, God, divine source, it doesn't matter to us. It's all one and the same. We are all one. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about how you can go within safely with this process. So we're actually going to practice it today. And I'm just really excited to have Bhakti Ishaya back. I think it's been 3 years, Bhakti, since you were here before, which is kind of crazy to me how time flies. And back then I wasn't even, it was an entrepreneurship podcast. Now we're a spirituality podcast, which is perfect for you. So I want to explain what we're going to do today and how I met Bhakti first. And then hopefully if you're joining us live, you can comment below, #live, city, state, and country that you're tuning in from. You may even get to ask questions if you are on the live broadcast. And if you don't know how to get access to the live broadcast, go to magdalenagrace.com, subscribe to my YouTube channel or email list there, and you can be a part of the live studio audience for all of my shows. So I met Bhakti in 2016, and that was a very interesting year, if you remember. And I'm going to kind of set the stage a little bit. So it was April of 2016, and I had just, gone through the grieving process like everyone in Minneapolis, St. Paul, because Prince had just died. We were in the midst of an election year, and I'm not even going to talk about who won, but for a lot of people, the winner, actually, it was very depressing. There was a lot of external things that were causing a lot of pain, anguish, suffering, grief, anger. And lo and behold, not ironically, that same person that won back then just won again here in the US election. And there's a lot of triggers. There's a lot of people who are frustrated, angry on both sides. I'm not really a political person. I'm just stating facts because I see it every day with clients, friends, family, different people in the collective consciousness who are experiencing a lot of trauma, anger, grief, all of the things, and as within, so without. So it's really about what's going on inside of you. And when I was going through the Bright Path and the Ascension process and becoming a student, Bhakti was my first spiritual teacher. I really finally understood, like, wait a minute, there are these voices, these inner critic things that are always kind of yapping at me. You should, not good enough, all these limiting beliefs. On top of that, you have external stressors, marriage, children, life, divorce, elections, economic, stagnations or recessions, and that can just cause someone to implode. And so how do you find peace in the eye of the storm? Well, we're going to talk about how you can find peace today through witnessing your thoughts. No matter what's going on outside, we have inner peace, joy, bliss, and all the goods inside of us. And when I found Ascension, I did have some major breakthroughs in my business, my finances. And then I just actually rediscovered and hung out with Bhakti again at the Sanctuary of Joy, which he's the owner and creator of. And admittedly, I'm going through a divorce right now. And by being able to be back in that ascension process, I was able to come back to joy, peace, bliss very, very quickly. And so I just wanted to share that, personal, vulnerable story to tee you up, Bhakti, and would love for you now to share a little bit more about your story and your journey with Ascension. And then we'll talk more about the process.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Magdalena. It's great to see you again, by the way. And yes, we offer the Ishaya Ascension, which is beyond meditation. It's an ancient practice that has no belief, so it doesn't interfere with anybody's religion or spirituality. And it just allows one to operate their life from a higher level of consciousness. It's not some new age deal. I mean, it's called Satori in Japan, Samadhi in India, and in the Judeo-Christian culture, it's referred to as the peace that surpasses all understanding. That's a higher level of consciousness than, sleeping, waking, and dreaming. And the simplicity of it is beautiful because the brain processes our experience of life two different ways. One of the ways that our brain processes our experience of life is through the linear sequential way. And the other way that our brain processes our experience of life is through the spatial holistic way. And what Ascension does is works very naturally with both sides of that brain and create what we call coherence, where the mind is flowing through the brain waves are flowing through very naturally, as opposed to the other way, which is very haphazard and so forth. Okay. And then what we do is create a vehicle, which we call an Ascension attitude, which is tailor-made for each individual. And all they have to do is think it, either eyes open or eyes closed, and the mind moves inward effortlessly, and we experience the divine within. A rose by another name is still a rose. It goes, like you said, Magdalena, with many different words. We refer to it as the Ascendant because it's difficult for anybody to, have a problem with that. And, experience that. And then the body settles down and experiences deep rest. And the body does what it does naturally, which is heal itself. And it dissolves the stresses which cause the beliefs in the first place. And that's the real key, because we are an effective practice. There's another effective practice out there too, which is transcendental meditation, but that's the meditation of the stars, and that has to do with mantras, which just blocks the thoughts. We work with the thoughts and eliminate the stresses around the thoughts, so that voice in your head that has some real strong content to it, down the road, if you hear it again, it says, it's nothing. And it's nothing because it's just a voice. It's nothing. But because the stress has been dissolved, there is no content to pay attention to. We don't need to get into a story about it, go down some rabbit hole. We just watch it move through. And that's what happens, because we're basically, we're going to do a little exercise later. And the beauty of it, this exercise you can't do wrong. It's impossible. But we're going to experience the thoughts are objective to who we are. And that's really the first step, because once we notice that and start implementing that, peace can start to happen in our life. When we have peace, we have more joy. We're here to have a life of joy and peace.
Sign me up for that. Absolutely. And you're located in Minneapolis, St. Paul. But I think what's really important, because, when I first met you, here you are wearing all white. You look like Sean Connery 2.0. You're very calm, cool, and collected, right? But big but, you have a story. So I think it's really important for you to share your story before you found Ascension, and then how things shifted after.
Yeah, well, when I was 28 years old, I was married and divorced twice. I had a son I couldn't support, and I'd been fired from every job I ever had. My transition to civilian life from being in combat in Vietnam, like many, was horrible. My cousin introduced me to meditation, and things changed. Life was different. And over a period of 20 years, I did a number of different meditation practices. All of them had benefit. And I, had the checklist on what it is to live the American dream. I was president CEO of a locally based national company. We were able to go anywhere, do anything we wanted, anytime we felt like it. But I just knew there had to be more to life than what I was experiencing. And as a result, I ran into Ascension. And I learned in November, I did the weekend course. And the funny thing is, my beloved Rosemary came up to me on Tuesday and said, one of those monks coming back to town. I said, why? I want that. and I knew things were different. But in March or April, we had a thunderstorm. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder boomers and so forth. And it was no big deal, which typically wasn't the case. And even though I'd been doing meditation for 20 years, a lot of the practices, no more. And I mean, talk about bliss, and you see the thing with an effective practice, there's been a number of studies on effective practices, and they all have the same four conclusions: an increase in happiness, improved health, enhanced relationships, and optimal performance. One of the things I love about it is I'm able to get 8 hours of work done in 6 hours. I mean, it just makes life so much easier. And that's the beauty of it. And the reason I do what I do is because I have had that peace that surpasses all understanding. I mean, in 2012, my beloved Rosemary got sick, and she ended up with kidney failure. They said that she wasn't going to make it till the end of the year. And 2 years later, she sits up in bed with her arms up. Maybe I can be around long enough. We can go see Rob get married, and I can have my retirement party. Yeah, be great. Well, 2 months later, we're on an airplane to Las Vegas. See Rob get married. She has a retirement party in May. Issue in July. Tried to take care of it with chemo. Didn't work. And she said, last 15 years, I've had more joy, happiness, and abundance than I ever thought was possible. I've been at perfect peace. Last 2.5 years, I've been at peace too, but I've been in constant pain. And I just have peace and no pain. I said, of course. She said, I want to see the boys right away. So I had my son come in from Barcelona, Spain, another one from Olympia, Washington. Greg lived here. And so 48 hours later, we're around her bed. 2 weeks later, they go back a day after memorial service. And then a year later, I get a phone call, and our youngest had a fatal accident. But I'm at peace through this whole thing. How's that possible? Intellectually, it's impossible. But because I had this vehicle where I could go within and experience peace, regardless of what's going on the outside, that's why, I figure people have to know about this, because things happen. Things happen in life. And like you were talking about, I talked to some people that had the practice. Boy, I'm glad I got the practice of what's going on out there. And it just really makes life easy and happy and joyful and peaceful.
Yeah, and agreed. You have countless testimonials. I think the best experiences, or the best teacher is experience. So in a couple minutes, we're going to do a roughly 20-minute experience practice with Bhakti. But I just want to reiterate the as within, so without. So it's happening. There's a collective awakening on the planet. That's why I have Kuan Yin, Divine Mother, behind me, just to remind you that the Divine Feminine, Age of Aquarius, Ascension, 5D, whatever you want to call it, there's a reason all of this bullshit is happening for us, by us as a planet. You could be triggered all day long by the external. I'm going through a divorce right now. And for many, I work with women who've been divorced for over a decade, and they're still experiencing anger and bitterness and all this kind of stuff. And so I'm trying to share all of these tools to let you know that it doesn't have to be a big deal, as Bhakti would say. We take things so personally because we're triggered from our childhood trauma, and our central nervous system is deregulated. And we make it about us when The
Yes.
us is we have everyone's unity consciousness, and if you can't find that peace within, it causes so much more pain without. And so it's very doable over time, of course.
Mhm.
So we want to help you have this tool available to you. I know Bhakti's in Minneapolis. He has a weekend retreat coming up in March. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Mhm.
But Bhakti, I'd really love for you to give the audience an experience. So I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. Okay. And Magdalena, you're 100% right. I mean, the divine energy is coming in, the divine feminine is coming in to balance everything out, which is beautiful. Thank God. Uh, and also, we're living in a time that all civilizations have talked about for the last 10,000 years. This is it, right now. So, um, you know, contribute. I mean, the way I look at things, I don't take anything seriously and I take nothing personal.
Mm.
And that helps. Plus, I have the tool that, you know, works. And this little exercise we're going to do, like I mentioned before, you're going to be able to experience that your thoughts are objective to who you are. Something real important to remember, you can't do it wrong.
Amen to that. And hey, Bhakti, really quickly, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
So I'm having that psychedelic technology issue. So my hope is I'm going to leave and come back. This is the perfect timing because I was actually going to put you on the big screen and have it
Uh,
just you.
okay.
Um, so just know that I go away. I'll be back behind the scenes, and then you just tell me when to come back in. Okay.
Okay. All righty. Good.
All right. Take it away.
Okay. So first of all, it's going to be 3 steps. The first thing we're going to do is count our thoughts. We're going to close our eyes, relax, and count our thoughts. And before you start, everybody's been to talks and heard things and listened to stuff. Just take whatever you've learned, set it on a table, just leave it there, and come back to it later. But right now, just focus on just doing this, counting your thoughts. A thought is very simple, something forward or backward in time. Awareness of a sound is a thought. It could be diagrams or colors that come through the mind. That's okay. Everything is okay. It could be something going on with the body, a muscle twitch, an emotion going through, whatever. It doesn't make any difference. So just close your eyes, relax. We're going to do this for 30 seconds. I'll keep track of the time, so you don't have to worry about that. Don't have to worry about anything but counting your thoughts. Just close your eyes, relax, and start counting. Okay, slowly open your eyes. Great. And what you created, regardless how many thoughts you had, might add less than 5, more than 5, less than 10, more than 10, doesn't make any difference. Whatever you had was perfect. And what you did is created this space between you and your thoughts. And when you gave a thought a number, it just disappeared. You recognized something and it went through. Perfect. You may have even noticed when one thought ended, another one started, and there might have been a space in between there. You may have noticed it, may have not. It's okay. There was space there, but did you notice it? Maybe, maybe not. So you've got space between you and the thoughts and space in between the thoughts. Space, the final frontier. So now what we're going to do is just close your eyes and relax again. In a moment, close your eyes and then just watch the thoughts flow through the mind. No trying, no controlling, in perfect innocence. Just allow it to happen and just watch. We'll do this for 3 minutes. Close your eyes and begin. Okay, slowly open your eyes. It's easy, relaxing, silent, peaceful. Very good. And again, you had that space in between your thoughts. And it's very possible that after the thought moves through, you recognize more space. Maybe toward the end, the thoughts move through slowly, more slowly. That's perfect. If they did, they did. And if they didn't, that's okay too. You can't do it wrong. It's impossible. Stanford research did the electroencephalogram, 3 different points on either side of the brain, and measured thoughts. In 2002, they measured and found that the average person has 90 to 130,000 thoughts a day. That's a lot of thoughts, about one a second. And they also found that 85% of the thoughts were downward spiraling. Now, there was stuff in the past we wanted to be different. We didn't like something that was going on at the moment. All this judgment in there. Stuff about the future that we had concern about, 90% of which never happens. So what we're going to do is something very simple and easy. I want you all to pick an upward spiraling word. Peace, love, joy, happiness, whatever that may happen to be for you. That's perfect. Just pick the word, and it may change. And if it changes, it changes. Don't worry about that. But we're going to do the same thing we did last time of just watching thoughts. But when we notice a thought, just very gently and easily think the word. If the word you picked was joy, as an example, when you close your eyes, just watch the back of your eyelids, and you notice something, you just think joy. Just think it and let it go and watch. See where it takes you. And then again, when you notice something else, just watch. Think the word joy and watch. Okay? So we'll do this for 10 minutes. Just close your eyes, relax, watch, and then pick your word and just watch it go. Close your eyes and begin. No trying, no controlling, with perfect innocence. Slowly open your eyes. Was it easy, relaxing, silent, peaceful? Very good. And you can continue doing this with your eyes open. When you notice something, just very gently and easily think your word. If your word's changed, that's fine. If it changes in the future, that's okay. If it didn't change, that's good. You can't do it wrong. And Magdalena will be coming in here very shortly. But, it's very easy to keep things in perspective. They're just thoughts moving through.
Mhm.
It is. Nothing
Beautiful.
more, nothing less.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much. I want to give a quick shout out because this is the beauty of being on YouTube. Dr. Mel Krug was here. She said hello from Puerto Rico. And I also know I got an email from Lee, our friend Lee, who is also tuning in live. So I always like to acknowledge people. And if you saw value in the show so far today, please hit the share button, whether you're watching on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, YouTube. You usually got to copy and paste, but there is a share button on YouTube as well, because there's just so much going on in the world. And I love what you said, Bhakti, too, about they're just thoughts. They're like clouds in the sky passing by. And I'll also share, it's important for people to remember if things like that aren't working for you, it's a sign of unprocessed trauma that's still stuck in your central nervous system, like fight or flight, freeze, fawn. And a lot of times you may need more help, so that's why we talk about a variety of things, breath work, plant medicine, all of the things that I've found over the past 4 years that have also helped. And then Ascension is like, oh my gosh, it helps me after I was able to like transmute and let go of a lot of that bullshit. Now Ascension has brought me to the next level. And it's been, let me think about this. Let's do the math. It's been 9 years this summer because I got trained July of 2016, and it was probably right around Mary Magdalene Day. So I think that was kind of divine, for sure, for real. And there are no accidents, but just reminding people that this is a journey, and that's why it's a path, and this is a great tool that can really, really aid and assist whatever else, other therapy, whether it's talk therapy, breath work, things of that nature. And I know, Bhakti, you have a weekend retreat coming up. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, we've got two things, actually. We've got an introduction. I'll tell you more about who we are, what we do, and how we do that. That's coming up at 7 o'clock Central Time on Zoom or locally here. It's a hybrid. And then only in person is the weekend course, which is that weekend, the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And that's, Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday during the day. So.
Awesome. And how do they get in touch with you? I'll put this all in the show notes. So for anybody watching, just look in the comments below or look in the show notes if you're hearing this on the podcast later.
Yeah. And if you have any questions, just reach out.
Is email the best? Should I include your email address?
Sure. By all means.
Okay. So I'll include his email address, and you can absolutely connect with him. I think, the fact that you're doing more virtual stuff now is huge since we have a global audience here. And anything else that you want to share that you haven't shared yet about Ascension, about spirituality, anything that people can ponder?
Well, I could talk for a while about Ascension since that's what I do. But we do have some other virtual stuff available. Open meditation meetings, this type of thing. So if you want to be put on the list, let me know. I also have a pink light technique. It's ancient in origin. It's never been known to fail to enhance relationships in all areas of one's life.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's really sweet. If you want that, just let me know and we get that taken care of for you. And
Yeah, I was going to say,
no charge. no charge. And there's no charge for the intro. And there's a minimum charge. I can give you the history on where this came from and so forth, that, supposed to be made available to everybody in their native language, and it is. And I talk to people all over the world, so communicate with those. So wherever you are, just let me know. And if you want to see somebody local, I can put you in touch with teachers. So the teachers all over the world.
Yeah, because it's all over the world. Tell the story about the prison and the work that you all have done in the prison.
Yeah. Down in Mexico in 2012, there was a prison that was the most violent prison in all of Mexico. And the teacher went in there and introduced Ascension. And the thing is, 2 years later, they were the least violent prison in all of Mexico. Because the inmates learn, then the inmates' families learn, and then the guards learn, and their families learn. There's a real positive effect. And I've got a trailer about that in the signature of my email. So if you want to see that, just let me know that, and I'll send you an email.
Beautiful.
And you can go to the website and look at the whole documentary if you wish.
Beautiful. And I just want to make note of something you said earlier at the beginning about how the Ascension meditation, beyond meditation, helps dissolve the charge. So when you think of fight, flight, fear, fawn, or freeze, there's a charge in your central nervous system, in your cells, in your body wound up. And so it can literally freeze you, it can piss you off and trigger you, it can cause you to have a downward spiral or a trauma loop. So by just 20 minutes a day of Ascension, and you can do it eyes closed, eyes open, which you could even do it while you're driving. Like, who doesn't get potentially triggered while driving? To be able to have that in your back pocket, it's super easy to learn and memorize and get proficient at. But I like to point that out because a lot of times we don't understand. Like me, I can speak candidly, personally, my personal experience. Like I would get anger, I'd get charged. And then on top of that, I would judge myself and get angry at myself for getting angry, or getting charged. So again, it was like a loop. That's what I meant by a loop. Guilt, shame, and all those emotions. And until I could get better at releasing them and regulating my central nervous system, until I could let them go, it was hard for me to experience joy and bliss long term. Until, more and more as I got older and did more Ascension and more practices and more rituals and more daily ways of putting my oxygen mask on first. So my last just encouragement to you all is, if you really struggled with meditation, this is like, I like to call it, hopefully this doesn't offend you, Bhakti, I like to call this like the layman's meditation, like Transcendental and a lot of these other ones. I love chanting. I do it every day, but it's not for everyone. So this is so attainable, so doable. And like you said, I love that you can't do it wrong. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to that.
Yeah, it's just the simplicity to the whole thing. Also, I'd like to say, you learned in July and you did so well that 6 months later, the company you're with bought you a brand new Mercedes, if you remember. And then the following year became the #1 recruit in the whole country. So it does work right away. and the benefits are beautiful. I mean, we had a gal a few years ago on Saturday morning, how was everything? And she said, well, I had the first full night's sleep I've had in 12 years. And she was a clinical psychologist. I mean, there's a million stories,
Yeah, so I encourage everyone to reach out to Bhakti. I have one final question for you, Bhakti. I'm going to do my paid sponsor ad real quick. We'll be right back after this advertisement, and we'll have one final question for Bhakti. Don't go away.
All right.
Healthy and Wealthy and Wise is proudly sponsored by The Soul Vine, your #1 go-to source for ayahuasca microdosing. This ayahuasca is legal. It is the Cappy vine. There is no DMT extract or molecule as a part of it, and it can and will transform your life from the inside out. Supporting the Shipibo tribe from South America, this is my go-to source for healing. Learn more at microdosingforhealth.com.
Yay. Well, everyone, so grateful for all of you. For those of you who have been following me, I've been talking about my 66-day Awaken the Goddess and Activate the Kundalini Shakti Within. It's a program for women between the ages of 40 to 60 who are struggling with their spiritual awakening, who are struggling with grief. Those are some of my favorites, as well as the witch wound or the religion wound. All of these things from past lives and current life that may have kept us stifled, stagnant, and hurting, quite honestly, and not shining our light or living out loud. The program starts on full moon on March 14th. Deadline to sign up is March 11th. So if you have any questions and want to learn more about that, go to magdalenagrace.com. So Bhakti, I don't know if you remember this. I asked the same closing question at the end of the show, and it's basically the same one you answered before, but it's been a few years, so maybe your answer has changed. But when you, Bhakti, hear the phrase healthy and wealthy and wise, what does that mean for you?
Well, hey, healthy means, instinctively everybody talks about their physical health, which is true, but also mental health, mental clarity. And, that this is a tool to get there. It gives it to you. And wealthy, I mean, it enhances gives one optimal performance as far as what they're doing. And if you're, a sales rep or whatever it may happen to be, a small company, it's going to enhance that. It's going to give you more hours in a day to be more productive. And wise, you're operating from from a higher level of consciousness, so you have more wisdom. All knowledge exists, and all you have to do is have a vehicle to take you there.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Bhakti, for being here. If you liked what you heard, please reach out to him. I will have his email in the show notes and the comments below if you're on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, here's to your best health, your best wealth, and your best wisdom. Bye-bye for now.
Love you all.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Please subscribe, download, leave a 5-star rating or review, and also please refer this to a friend you know who may benefit from this inspirational message. We hope to see you again. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel or join my Facebook community. And if you are looking to manifest your best health, your best wealth by trusting your best wisdom within, please go to my website, www.microdosingforhealth.com. Again, www.microdosingforhealth.com. To quiet your mind, get into your heart, heal your body, and manifest your best health and your best wealth.